Most astrologers are asking, what will happen? Today, I'd like to ask a different question. What is this rare astrology asking of us? Every astrologer is talking about a rare planetary configuration called Barbault's basket. And many believe that it signals a period of extraordinary change, new ways of thinking, shifts in power, a turning point in civilization itself. And honestly, I think they're right. We can already see much of what has been predicted happening. But I also think they're missing a very important part, and that is what is in your basket? Because we are seeing the sky create this shape known as Barbault's basket. And I'm asking, what is in your basket? So first, let's begin with what exactly is Barbault's basket. So French astrologer André Barbault observed that every so often the planets gather together in one half of the sky, creating a distinctive pattern that resembles a basket. It's incredibly rare. Historically, these periods often coincide with moments when history appears to accelerate. Old systems begin to crack, new ideas emerge, technology leaps forward. Collectively, something changes. And yes, I think we're living through one of those moments now. And one of the reasons I love astrology is because I don't believe it only speaks through prediction. It also speaks through symbols, which is why I always share a story if you've been watching my videos. Astrology is participatory. Most people approach astrology by asking, what will happen? What will happen? But there's a more important question. And this question is, what is the symbol inviting me to become? Because astrology isn't something that we all simply just observe. It's something that we participate in, participate within and without. So to study astrology is to learn to live symbolically. So if the heavens are arranging themselves in something resembling a basket, then it stands to reason that perhaps we're meant to be working with this image internally, right? So we're not supposed to just intellectualize these things. We are supposed to work on it on every level, right? Intellectually, psychological, spiritually. So, what is in your basket? Story time. Let me just take a sip of my coffee here. Imagine you're walking through a forest carrying a basket. Every few steps, someone places something inside. Your parents have placed their expectations. Your teachers have told you what success should look like. Culture tells you who you ought to become. Social media adds a layer of comparison. The news brings fear and dread, and friends add their opinions. Often well meant, but anyway, they're adding their opinions. Before long, the basket becomes so heavy that you forget to ask, did I choose any of this? Many of us think we're carrying our own lives, but often we're carrying our parents' fears, our culture's definitions of success, our family's unspoken loyalties, and stories that were handed to us so long before we were old enough to actually question them. Perhaps that's what Barbault's basket is asking us. What are you carrying? And can you carry this forward into a new world, into this future that is being predicted? Okay. So let's consider what a basket is. A basket holds things. It's where we gather things, right? It protects what we consider valuable. So what are you carrying? What ideas have you been repeating for years? What old family stories are still running through your head? What are your beliefs about your worth? And have those beliefs not changed at all? Are they still negative self-beliefs about your worth and your value? What memories keep pulling you backwards? And if you have not watched my New Moon in Cancer video, I urge you to go watch that because I speak about memory. What memories keep pulling you backwards? What is your anxiety about the future? Are all those, are the answers to those questions all there in your basket, or are you carrying hope, beauty, curiosity, faith, a dream, perhaps? Maybe you're carrying a dream that you are protecting because you knew it wasn't time yet to share this dream. Because whatever you are carrying internally eventually shapes exactly what you create externally. Remember, we create reality from the inside out. Every relationship, every movement, every work of art, everything that is meaningful began as an inner image. So reality is imagined before it is built. So let's look at the astrology. Yeah. On July 15th, Uranus is sextile Neptune, and you know, everyone's going to predict it this way. It's like vision, insight, and innovation all meeting up. So, how do you think how are you innovating? But I think the more important question when these two link up today, Uranus sextile Neptune, is can you still think for yourself? Or are you just simply consuming information? Are you letting AI, ChatGPT think for you? Are you endlessly scrolling? Are you only repeating what you've heard? Can you actually think for yourself? Okay. July 17th, Uranus trine Pluto. And, again, this is going to be predicted widely and far, and this is all true mental and collective shift that transforms systems and communities. But I think the better question here is who has authority over your reality? July 20th, Jupiter trine Neptune. And again, this is just waves of inspiration, optimism, beautiful artistic insight. But again, the better question here is what future are you willing to believe in? And once you believe in, what are you inviting? Remember, you can only invite in, you can only receive what you believe. And what do I mean by this? So, what future are you willing to believe in, and what future can you actually invite in? You have to be vibrationally compatible for whatever it is you're trying to attract. Okay, you cannot be a complainer, a Debbie Downer, for example, and expect the best in the future. You have to start changing the language, the inner images. You have to move towards the images that live in your heart. Hopefully, the images that are in your heart are nourishing images, positive images. If they are not, change them. You have this power. You are incredible. You are a creator. You can change your inner images. Okay. July 20th, we have Jupiter opposite Pluto. Which vision deserves your power? That is the better question here. Which vision deserves your power? Because you're probably carrying many visions, many inner images, but which one of those deserves more of your attention? Because remember, attention is power, time is power, your imagination is power. That is one thing AI, well, there's actually a couple of things AI will never take. Well, if they take our imagination, we are done as a species. And if you surrender your imagination over to AI, yeah. Okay, please do not surrender your imagination to AI. Work with AI because AI is not going anywhere, people. I mean, just we need to accept this. But you need to work with AI as a as a tool, okay, that is perhaps going to help you in, clarifying in research, whatever it is you needed to help you, but do not surrender your imagination and your thinking abilities, your capacity to think, because let me tell you, I have tried to run my, astrology through AI, and it is a fiasco, an absolute fiasco. I don't know who trained AI on astrology. Okay. Do not surrender your, um, do not stop thinking. You know what I mean? Just do not give your power over to AI. Use it for as a tool to maybe, streamline your activities, your tasks, whatever it is, to make things a little easier, but do not surrender over your imagination. The other thing that AI will never take is our intuition. But anyway, that is a subject for another day. Okay, so remember that every day you are placing something into your basket, and whatever you're continually placing in there is shaping your decisions. Your decisions become your habits become your character, and your character, as you know, eventually becomes the life that you are living. So, one of the things that I love most about reading birth charts is that they reveal what you've been carrying mostly unconsciously. Some of us are awake, others we just parts of ourselves that we carry unknowingly. Sometimes it is an inherited family story. Sometimes it's a belief about our worth. Sometimes it's a dream that we've abandoned because someone convinced us it wasn't possible. Again and again, my clients tell me the greatest gift that I offer them in my birth chart readings isn't just the predictions, it's the clarity. It's the clarity about what belongs to them and what never did. So if you're standing at a threshold in your life, if you've been repeating certain patterns and wondering if there's something more to your life, and also wondering what you're truly here to cultivate, I'd love to explore your birth chart with you. You will find a link to book a private reading in the description box. Okay, so this is Barbault's basket, and it's a configuration that reaches its peak on the 20th of July, and I'm publishing this on the 15th. So next week sometime it's at its peak. And what we see here is, I mean, you can clearly see it's this beautiful basket shape. And let's start with the first part of this configuration. Well, the first aspect, or the first aspect that is made, is on the 15th of July with Uranus sextile Neptune. So this one, Uranus at 4 degrees, Neptune at 4 degrees. And then the next day, not next day, on the 17th, Uranus is then in opposition to Pluto in trine to Pluto, not opposition. So trine Pluto in Aquarius. And then on the 20th, Jupiter is in Leo and he is sextile Neptune in Aries. And then on the 21st, Jupiter is sextile Uranus. There you go, those two. And then and then also Jupiter is opposite Pluto on the 20th as well. Okay, so there's this beautiful configuration there. Now, what I wanted to share with you is something I don't spend hours watching other astrologers. So, yeah, maybe there are other astrologers speaking about this. But one thing that is worth noting is this. So, Pluto is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So, Pluto is answering to Saturn in Aries and Uranus in Gemini. Saturn in Aries is answering to Mars in Gemini. Neptune is in Aries, answering to Mars in Gemini. Okay. Then so who rules Mercury, Gemini? Because you keep hearing Gemini. So Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is in Cancer, and Mercury is retrograde. So this immediately tells us that things from the past are being reviewed, reconsidered, right? And then Jupiter is part of this beautiful basket, and Jupiter is in Leo, and Jupiter answers to the sun because the sun rules Leo and the sun is in Cancer. So the most important planet here is actually the planet of, our thinking processes, the mind, communication, and that is Mercury. And he is in the sign of the past and memory and belonging. And the sun that is ruling Jupiter in Leo is also in Cancer. Again, the sun, the sign of belonging and memory and the past. So the way we are thinking, the way we are used to thinking has to shift. Quite literally, I mean, if I want to put this in a simple sentence, this basket is all pointing to the architecture of thinking, how we think. And ultimately, our thoughts become our beliefs. And then I think it's also worth mentioning the signs that are not part of this basket, okay? Because only one part of this, of the zodiac wheel is, activated, so to speak, here. The part that is not involved includes Virgo, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is, as we said, retrograde in Cancer. And then we got Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is cruising through Virgo, and Virgo is, of course, ruled by Mercury. Then we got Scorpio, and Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars is, of course, in Gemini, answering to Mercury. Then we got Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter, is in Leo, and Jupiter's answering to the sun in Cancer. Then we got Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is, in Aries, answering to Mars in Gemini. Anyway, let's consider these signs that are not activated in this basket. It's actually the best thing to do here is I want you to consider those signs. Which houses do those signs occupy in your charts? Because those houses, that's where the stuff is coming in. So like your basket is receiving stuff from those houses. Okay, so we've come to the end of this video, and I would like to say thank you for being here, and I wish for you all a good week ahead. And please do remember to subscribe if you want to keep seeing my videos, and I will see you in the next one.